Hello, Facebook family. It's me. I'm Shannon LaBruyere, and I am alive and loving it tonight on Sunday Night Live. This is our opportunity to take a deep breath and get our thoughts and our intentions set for the rest of the week. I welcome you here. Chris, I'm glad you jumped on. Thanks, Jackie. Yay! So glad you're here. I love it when you guys jump on early. It's awesome. Luke, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. I have had a spectacular week. Hi, Jason. Oh, it's Javon. Javon, I'm glad you're here. I have had a great week of growth for myself. And so what I'm sharing with you tonight is a direct reflection of what I've recognized in me on my growth journey just in the last 7 days. It's amazing when we start learning and start growing and start sharing what kind of awarenesses come up in our lives. So it's awesome. Oh, Luke, I'm glad you're glad to be here. And I'm glad I can also see the comments because sometimes I can't see the comments rolling up. So awesome. Hey, feel free to put a heart on there, a thumbs up. If you've never been here before, drop a note in the comments and let me know what state you're from. Kevin, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining. Today we are going to be talking about some potholes on the road to growth. And I don't know about you, but I've been taken aback by some potholes here in the Michigan area lately. Bobby, glad you're here. I don't know how many of you have the same kind of issues that we have here in Michigan with snow and sleet and rain, and then water freezes and it expands and then it melts and it shrinks and it leaves big holes in our highways and our streets. And sometimes the road that we were on yesterday, which was perfect, today has a giant sinkhole in it that could swallow a truck. So when I'm talking about potholes, seriously people, we can have potholes like that on our road to growth. Some of them are not just hiccups. They can actually suck us in and really derail us if we're not careful. So that's why I want to talk about 3 things that we all need to avoid on our road to growth. Joanne, I am glad you're here. Pretty nails. I don't like the way my hands look when I get too close to the screen like that. So anyway, so cool. Sylvia, I haven't seen you in a while, and I am glad you are here. I know a lot of you catch this on the recording, which is absolutely just fine, but I do love it when you're able to be here live. I want to give a shout out to the people who contacted me after last week's Sunday Night Live, where we talked about 3 things that we have to know if we're going to grow. And the thing that resonated with people was this idea of we have to own our growth. We have to own our own growth. It's nobody else's job. And that really rang out with some people. So I wanted to kind of take a little bit of a dive into that because I learned a lot on my growth journey this week. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So building on that premise of we have to own our growth and it's nobody else's job. That doesn't mean that no one else is involved, okay? So I'm not saying that you put your blinders on and you don't involve anybody else in your growth journey and you trying to be a better person. Grow your skills, grow your emotional intelligence, grow your regular intelligence, whatever it is, you don't have to do that alone. And that is the first pothole, if you will, on the road to growth. Trying to go it alone. Sometimes we are surrounded by people, and if this is you, I want you to really listen here. If you are surrounded by people who have not been your biggest fan in the past, you may be tempted to take your growth journey all by yourself. And that is such a mistake. If you are surrounded by people who have in your past maybe laughed at you when you told them what your dreams and your desires were, maybe they said, oh, who do you think you are? You're never going to be a millionaire, when you told them that you wanted to make $1 million. Or maybe you said, I want to go and get my doctorate in podiatry. And they laughed and they said, you'll never do it. You've never finished a thing. those are not the people that you're going to invite on your growth journey. You can love those people. A lot of times they're the people who are close to us. Oh, hi, Richard. Glad you're here. And Dawn, I'm glad you're here as well. And Lucy, I saw you just a minute ago. Thank you for jumping on. So be careful who you take with you on your growth journey, but don't plan on going alone, okay? We need the perspective of people traveling with us as we grow, especially if they're a few steps ahead of us. The people that we connect with that are a few steps ahead of us on our growth journey are people we call mentors. How many of you have had a mentor? I had a mentor. Rich Krieger knows her well. One of my very first mentors was a lady named Janice. She was a dear, dear, dear friend to me. But even more than that, she took me by the hand and said, Shannon, would you like to learn to be a Sunday school teacher? And I said, yes, I would. And I was the ripe old age of 12. And she mentored me how to deal with children, how to plan a lesson, how to do public speaking, how to make creative crafts and use my creativity to help people learn valuable lessons. In that case, it was children learning Bible stories and the principles of God's Word. Those things that my mentor taught me on my growth journey, I still use today. I am still creative. I still use different methods of communicating my points. Sometimes I use object lessons, or I use funny stories, or sometimes I use songs. All of those things I learned from somebody who was a few steps ahead of me on their growth journey. So you need a mentor. Find somebody who's gone where you want to go in your growth. Maybe they're a fantastic leader. Maybe you've got an educational goal. Find somebody, look around, invite somebody to be part of your world who has gone ahead of you on their growth journey, and let that person accompany you on yours. You don't have to go it alone. Do not go and invite the people who have been laughing at your every dream and who have been telling you can't do it and scoffing when you share how excited you are about what you're learning. Don't take those people with you. Love them from a distance. Get people who are going to support you, who can mentor you. Don't take your growth journey alone, okay? And if you would like to drop in your comments somebody who's mentored you, I would just love to see their name out there. And maybe it'll be a prompt for you to thank them for helping you on your growth journey. It is a powerful thing when we let the people who've influenced us know just how valuable they've been to us. All right, don't go on your growth journey alone. That's the first pothole. Setting out on that trip all by yourself. Don't do it. Find a friend to go with you, somebody who can learn with you, grow with you, exchange great ideas with you. Find a mentor. Where are you going to find these people? Well, if you're a student, look around your school, look around your classes. Maybe you're in some other kind of a training program. Who there knows what they're doing, has traveled a road that you'd like to travel, and ask them, can I talk with you? And then listen to what they have to say. Reach out, be an initiator. Don't wait for people to approach you. You identify somebody that you think you'd like to learn from and reach out and ask. They won't always say yes, but they won't always say no either, and you'll not know until you ask. Another great way to do it is to find an online community similar to what we've got going here on Sunday Night Live. When we exchange our comments and our thoughts and our ideas here, this is a safe place for us to grow and try things and float some good ideas. Maybe there's another community that you're a member of. You're at Kiwanis, you're in church, there's so many places. But you're going to have to be discerning. You can't just assume that everybody there is going to want you to grow and that they're going to want to go with you. So invite a friend to learn with you if you can. Find a mentor. Find a group that you can be a part of. And align with something good that's going the direction you're going. But don't take your growth journey alone. All right. The second pothole that I want you to avoid on your growth journey is this one. Don't believe your own BS. Your bogus stories. Your bogus stories, people. Don't believe the bogus stories that you tell yourself about your abilities, your potential, what you're capable of doing. Just don't believe it. I'm going to share with you something that happened to me this week that helped me to grow immensely because of the help of a mentor. I'm going to describe the situation just briefly. I won't name any names. But I had a few weeks back, I made a connection with someone who is part of a collaborative group that looks very, very appealing to me. I love how they think. I love the premise of it. It seemed like when we had our first conversation that we really hit it off, like our ideas meshed, and I felt like I was being made better just as I was having the conversation with this person exploring this organization. And then I didn't hear back from him. And I thought we had agreed that he was going to send me a note and a little bit of information, and I didn't get anything. And so I waited a couple of weeks, and I sent an email out, and I still didn't get anything back. And so I asked my mentor, I'm not sure what to do, but I'm not hearing back, and I really felt like this was a great opportunity. And she said, Shannon, just pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and call. What are you afraid will happen? And I had to admit that I was afraid of being rejected. I was afraid that if I called and reached out to that person who was part of that group that I found to be so appealing, I was afraid that he was going to say, oh no, we decided, no, we don't want anything to do with you. Take a hike, get out of here. I talked myself out of being confident and excited about something that I had been so enthusiastic about, simply because I was telling myself a bogus story that I wasn't welcome. I was going to be interrupting. Nobody wants what I've got. All of that is such a lie. That is such a lie. And we tell ourselves lies all the time. Have you ever said this to yourself or to somebody else? I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough at that to do it. I don't know enough. I can't. I don't know. I don't know enough. How about this one? I'm not ready. I would love to, but I'm not ready. Have you ever said that? Thumbs up if you've said to somebody recently, I'm not ready to do that. I don't think so. Yeah, I saw a heart there. How about this one? I've never done it before. My husband's brother wanted to put in new electrical outlets in his home. And so he asked my husband to come over and put them in. And my husband said, I really don't have time, but you can do that. And his brother said, oh, no, I can't. I've never done it before. And my husband said, oh, hold on a second. There was a time when I'd never done it before, right? Every one of us has done things we've never done before. So don't be afraid to do something just because you've never done it before. That is a terrible, lame excuse. It's a bogus story. It's BS. Don't let yourself buy into it. That is a pothole as big as a truck on your road to growth, because there is no shortage of bogus stories out there. There are as many as you can think of. They come this fast because we program ourselves to step backward into safety. Moving forward into growth is risky, and those stories that we tell ourselves that we can't, we're not good enough, we've never done it before, those stories they're like prisons for us. We can get so tied up in them that we never get going on our road to growth because we're afraid to even try. So don't believe your own bogus story. Don't believe it. That's another reason why having a mentor and wise friends on your journey to growth is so helpful, because they help us see that bogus story you were telling yourself. It's nonsense. I'm going to show you something. These are a couple of pages of my I am statements. The things that I know I am. that I sometimes forget. A lot of people call these affirmations. I love that word, but I call them I am statements. These are the things I know I am. And I write them out every day. That's why I just use scrap paper to do it. But I write them out every day. And I say them out loud every day. Because if I don't, I start believing the bogus stories that go swirling in my head that keep me from taking action, acting in faith, moving forward, getting out there. I'm going to share some of these with you. Some of them may surprise you. These are the things that I know. Some of them I know I need help with, and I'm reminding myself. Some of them I feel very confident with, but I want to make sure I stay. So these are some of the things, not all of them. I have many. These are some of the things that I say every day to myself about myself so that I keep those bogus stories from invading my thinking, so that my mindset stays focused on what I am, what I can do, what is possible, what I am growing into, and not all that stuff's behind me. Remember what I said in the past? Don't look back. You're not going that way. These statements help me to always face forward. So these are some of the things I say about myself every day. I am proactive. I am a value-adding person. I am persistent. I am bold. I'm a speaker with a message from God. I am a welcome addition to people's lives. And I'm a valuable asset to the people I seek to serve. I'm 100% responsible for my business. I'm confident. I'm engaged, and I'm a wise grandma. I'm an engaged and a wise and connected wife and mother. I'm an initiator. I'm a prayer warrior. It goes on and on. These are things that I know I am, and I may not be at the pinnacle yet, but I am growing there. What are your I am statements? What are you going to write down when we get done with this Facebook Live lesson? What are you going to write down that you are to combat the bogus stories that sometimes chase us from childhood? I know there are some people who are listening to this whose parents told them every day, you are stupid, you are worthless, you'll amount to nothing. That's not true. That's a bogus story. What do you know is true? And write that down. Say it to yourself. Don't believe your bogus stories. So that's the second pothole I want you to avoid on your road to growth. All right. Hi, Karen. Glad you jumped on. All right. I want you to know that you have everything you need right now to do the thing you need to do next. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in that bogus story. I don't have what I need. I don't have what it takes. You don't have to have everything to finish the 4-year-long race that it's going to take, or the marathon, the 4-year-long marathon it's going to take for you to get that degree that you've been craving and saying you wanted all these years. All you need to have is enough energy to get yourself into the office and get an application. That's all you need. And once you get that, you're going to get the energy to do the next thing. So don't believe that bogus story that says you don't have everything it takes. You've got everything it takes to do the next thing you need to do. All right? Bermuda Bomb, so glad you're here. Thank you for jumping on. All right, the third pothole that I want you to watch out for on your road to growth is this. Showing up like your smaller self and forgetting how much you've grown. It is very easy to forget. Thank you. It is very easy to forget that we are different than we were 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 30 years ago. If we've been growing, but we haven't been noticing it, sometimes we don't realize we are different people, and we get sucked into habitual responses that will totally derail our growth. They'll take us on a detour that is going to slow us down, and we don't need that. So let me give you an example. How many of you have ever gone to a family reunion and you haven't been around these people in years? And you walk in and there's old Aunt Ethel and you haven't seen her in forever. And you are 45 years old and Aunt Ethel is 85 and she pinches your cheek and she says, "There's little Shannon, she's looking so cute." And I'm like, I'm 45 years old. Like, why are you doing that? Aunt Ethel has not seen me grow, right? She's been in a vacuum. But how often do we show up and we automatically start acting like our old self? Have you ever gotten together with your siblings at a holiday dinner and all of a sudden you hear yourselves bickering as if you were in grade school again? Or if you're anything like me, I was the oldest and I ruled with an iron fist at my house. I was bossy. I know you can't believe that. I know. I see the shock on your faces, but it's true. I was bossy. And I made a lot of decisions and I told my siblings what to do. And I grew over time. And I started to realize that I didn't have to be so controlling and I didn't have to act like I knew everything. And it was okay to admit sometimes that I was confused or that I had made a mistake. But when I would interact with my siblings, what would happen? I would immediately forget how much I had grown and I would revert to those old habits with those old relationships where I would start acting insecure. So I would try to control everything. I would start acting like a know-it-all because I didn't want to admit that I was wrong. I didn't do that anywhere else. But I realized there were certain situations where I would show up like the old me. If you are aware that that can happen, you are going to avoid a lot of pain. Pay attention to how you are showing up. I'll give you another example that's very recent. This past week, I decided that I was going to go get some new athletic shoes. Some of you have been following my sporadic journey toward being more active, being physically fit. I've been going to see a personal trainer, and now I started going to a spin class where we do bicycling and circuit training. So it's really fun. It's getting funner. The better I get at it, the more fun it is. But for the last few months, I've been wearing a pair of, I'm just going to call them gym shoes. I've been wearing this pair of gym shoes. They were 10 years old. And I'm showing up with a personal trainer, investing my time, her time, my resources, my money in a pair of raggedy old 10-year-old gym shoes. Because I've been telling myself, I don't use them enough to buy a new pair. Now, it would be different if I didn't have enough money to buy a new pair of shoes, but I do. I was just intentionally avoiding investing in those shoes. And I was wearing 10-year-old shoes. And I looked, actually, this is what happened. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I forgot them at the gym the last time I was there. And when I realized I had forgotten those nasty old 10-year-old junky shoes, I was so embarrassed to think somebody's going to find them and they're going to know they're mine. I didn't want anybody to know that I was wearing that kind of shoe. I was showing up to the gym like 10 years ago, Shannon. The Shannon 10 years ago who didn't care what kind of athletic shoes she had, didn't care if they were sturdy, didn't care if they were good for the job, didn't care if they laced properly, didn't care if the soles were good. I didn't care about any of that because I wasn't an active person. But I'm different now. And I was showing up to the gym like old Shannon. And when I finally realized that, I gave myself permission to go out and get a new pair of shoes. Melissa, I'm so glad you're here. And Samantha, I'm glad you're here. So glad to have you. I was showing up to today's gym dressed like old Shannon. It's not working. That plays with your brain. Every time I saw those shoes, I was telling myself, you don't work out. You don't like to exercise. You don't value this. And as soon as I realized it, those shoes went in the trash. I went and got a beautiful pair of high quality Nike tennis shoes that are pretty and they're functional and they fit great. And I could not believe how much easier it was to work out in good shoes. And I felt better because I was showing up like the real me, not like the old me. So one of the potholes that I want you to watch out for on your growth journey is that you forget that you've actually grown and you show up like your old self. I had a company reach out to me who wants me to come and do some training for them. And that is super exciting. And I was really geeked. And it's such a great opportunity. And I'm going to just confess, my first thought was this: oh my gosh, I need to get somebody's advice so I know what to do when I call them back. This is a great opportunity. I don't want to miss it. What? The Shannon of 5 years ago didn't know how to connect with clients about doing training, but I've been doing this for 5 years. I know what to do. I needed to show up like today's Shannon. I'm confident. I've learned. I've taken classes. I've practiced. I've done it in real life. I don't know what made me think that I was this nobody who didn't know what to do, that I needed somebody to hold my hand. It just comes out of nowhere sometimes, and it could happen to you. I want you to know. If it shows up, if you realize, I am acting so far below what I know I really am, give yourself permission to stop it. Face forward. Keep marching. Don't look back. You're not that person. But you need to know that sometimes the old person shows up, and you need to say, thanks, but new and improved Shannon's got this, right? New and improved. You've learned a lot. If you've been paying attention, you've learned a lot since last week. I hope you've been applying it. I hope you've grown. And I hope the new improved you is going to show up tomorrow at work, at school, wherever you're going to be contributing. Wherever you're contributing, I hope you are showing up as your new improved self. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to say new things. Don't be afraid to say something that somebody looks at you and goes, what? Since when did you think that? I don't know. I just changed. It's okay to change. Show up like your new and improved self. All right, so I'm just going to close it out with this. I'll summarize the 3 things you can avoid on your road to growth. Going it alone. Don't go alone. Take someone with you. Find a community of people. I'm a member of the John Maxwell team. It is 20,000 people strong now. When I joined, there was about 5,000. But there are people who are peers, who are just like me, that are traveling the journey I'm traveling. There are mentors that I have connected with that help me along on my journey to help me to grow so I can be a better self. It is invaluable. Find a group. Find a group of people. Find those that you know are going to support you, and don't go alone. You need people with you. You need that support because they give you perspective. The next thing is, don't believe your own bogus stories. You're going to tell yourselves a lot of lies. I tell myself a lot of lies. It's old stuff. Get it out. No. When you hear it, when you hear yourself saying it, I can't do that. I've never done it before. No. No. I can do it. Everything I've ever done in my life, I'd never done it before until I did it, right? So don't forget. Don't believe the bogus stories that you tell yourself or what other people tell you. You're different. You've got what it takes. You have everything you need to do the next thing you need to do. And finally, show up like your new and improved self. Don't fall into that pothole of showing up like the old person that you used to be because you've forgotten, or because the dynamics are different, or remind you, I should say, because the dynamics are not different, because you're in with a group of people that this is how you used to act when you were with them, like me and my siblings. Maybe you do that with your parents. Maybe it's with your boss. Show up like your new self, and don't be afraid to really show up, to really say, I've changed, I've grown, and to show it. You'll be amazed at what people notice, and you're going to be even more amazed at what it does up here. Just like my new gym shoes, which are, I guess they still are gym shoes, just like my new gym shoes, send the right message The message that says Shannon has grown, she has changed, she's an active person, she values movement, she values her health. All of those things, just a pair of shoes. All it took was for me to take that old mindset, drop it in the trash, and say, that doesn't reflect who I am now. This is who I am now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Drop any comments you have in there. I look at them after we're done talking, and I love to respond to them and just percolate on it. Thanks for those of you who've reached out through Facebook Messenger. It touched my heart, what you shared about what Sunday Night Live has been doing in your life and what it means to you. That is amazing, amazing stuff, and it thrills me and it fuels me. I love you. I value the time that we spend together, and I'm honored, and I say that 100% sincerely. I am so honored that you would take time out of your schedule and listen to me pour into your life the truth that I've learned and that I believe with my whole heart can help you to thrive in any change that comes your way. Thank you so much. Feel free to share this. It is so wonderful when you do, because it gets the word out to new people. And the more people who get the word, the more people thrive, and the better we like it. So feel free to share it. And also, if you want, if you haven't done it yet, go like my Support Life page. And as always, ShannonLaBruyere.com. You can sign up to be in my email list. I appreciate you all. Mwah! Thank you, and have a great day. Oh, Luke, it is an awesome ride, isn't it? It is so fantastic. I'm just thrilled at the people that we are meeting, the information that we're sharing, and the good stuff that's in our future, because we know we are created for great things and we are heading great places. It's thrilling. And Luke is a member of the the Apostolic Church of Flat Rock. I want to get that right. The Apostolic Church of Flat Rock, and we're doing leadership training there, and it has been amazing. And a lot of what we talked about last week at their leadership training fed me this week as I was thinking about how leaders behave. Are they proactive or reactive? Leaders are initiators. So it's beautiful. Pouring into people, teaching them, and then growing ourselves. It's a wonderful thing. So Luke, thank you for being here. Mary, I'm so glad you're here. Awesome. Yay. I love the hearts. Thank you so much. I am getting ready to go, you guys. Mary, thanks for popping in. You'll be able to catch this on the replay. I hope you enjoy it. You guys take care. Have a great night. I love you all. Bye.